Hey, today I've been doing the shading and the lighting on this little drawing that I did based on a D&D session that I played a wee while ago. I normally do shading and stuff pretty quickly. I'm used to doing a lot of comic backgrounds that need a really fast turnaround and often have like hand strain problems. So the shading for this took about 20 minutes and I just wanted to talk about the kind of techniques that I use to get things done quickly and kind of like cut corners, that kind of thing. So this is the original pencil sketch that I did when we were actually playing D&D. Obviously it doesn't have that many lines down, not a lot of detail, but it's pretty helpful for me because it just gave me a reminder of what I was thinking about, what I was imagining when I was actually playing, as well as the kind of original layout, the perspective, where the characters are going to sit, that kind of thing. From that stage, I kind of went straight into line art here. I kind of had a good sense of where the shelves were going to be, and then what was fun was just filling them all up with books that look slightly different, books that are tilted over a wee bit, books that are stacked the other way, boxes, vases, anything that might be in this kind of professor's study. It kind of helps it not look too uniform. It's very easy to do bookshelves, I think, and then just do very similar, same height books and everything. And I kind of like them where it looks a little bit more unusual. For this piece, I did the characters on a different layer. Again, straight into line art. Kind of didn't really have much of a rough for this one. So this is the start of the colour process. This is just laying down all the flats, and I don't have this part recorded because I literally just did it with a mouse and with my left hand, and I haven't filled in all of the objects, and a lot of the books and stuff I did in colours but on a very low opacity layer. This is because I didn't want the background to have too much colour contrast, and obviously if every single thing on the shelves is super detailed, it's just going to take away attention from the whole composition because your eye won't really know what to focus on. Alex Asana actually just made a really good thread on Twitter about tips for backgrounds for comics, which mentions this, which I think also applies to illustrations, which includes characters and any drawings you want to get done fast. I'll link that below. After flats, the first thing I do is a layer or brush set to multiply to add all the shadows. It's almost always on a medium blue-grey or a medium grey-brown, depending if the scene is warm or cool. In this scene, the big dramatic light source is warm light from the window and the main base colour is brown, so I'm using grey-brown shadows for everything. For the shadow layer, I usually use a textured brush and a dark colour at about 30% opacity, kind of like using a thin layer of dark watercolour to add shadows to everything. Here I'm also just kind of adding some dirt and grime to the characters as well as scars and stuff, again just all on multiply. The shadows are very simple, just cell shading rather than rendering lots of different tones, and since there's just one light source, the shadows are just on the side facing away from the window toward the viewer. So for the books it's super simple, it's just the face towards me. I love cozy lighting and shortcuts, so most of my highlights I just use one big overlay layer set to a pale orange. And again, after I've done that general bit, I've gone in and I'm doing a little bit more on the characters and the objects that have little highlights as well where they're facing toward the window. Lastly, I'm zoomed out a wee bit more so that I can see the whole composition, see where it needs a bit more shading, adding some general shading, as well as another overlay with some beams of light on low opacity. And that's pretty much the method that I use for every time I have to do something fast or cartoony or for comics, just doing the shading with a multiply layer for shadows and an overlay layer for highlights. And this is the final piece with all the characters and also with this Dragonborn professor who I suspect might be evil, but we haven't found out where he is yet in the campaign. Thanks for watching.